Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to wake the world up to what's possible, one brave word at a time. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the most amazing authors of a new book that we have coming out. This one is called Bytes of Light, Evolving Leadership for the Spiritual Entrepreneur. Y'all don't know how much I love this topic, okay? So before I introduce these authors to you, I want to say a huge thank you to Angel and Seth Rohrer, who are the lead authors of this project. And you guys are just other level. Thank you so much for your mission and your big, big vision for this book in really redefining what it means to be a leader. Like I said, this topic turns me on for so many different reasons. It's such a big world-changing vision and topic, and this is going to be juicy today, you guys. These conversations, I'm just loving them. But Angel and Seth, thank you so much, and we wouldn't be here without you. Love you guys. So who do I have with me today? April Kaiser is the co-founder of Buckaroo Buddha Holistic Healing, specializing in Bowen therapy, energy healing, and breathwork ceremony. Emoke Molnar is a massage and shamanic practitioner. Who'd we lose? We lost Suzanne. Let me repeat that for Emoke. Emoke Molnar is a massage and shamanic practitioner from the Raynor Naturopathic School of Massage and Bodywork, and a Reiki master. And I'll introduce Suzanne. We're going to cross our fingers for technology, you guys, today. Suzanne Rowland is a light spirit earth walker, a seeker, witness, and practitioner of the divine order of listening to our ancestors. So we'll hope she pops back into the Zoom room with us here in just a minute. So let's see, April, why don't you start off this party for us today and tell us about your amazing chapter?
Thank you very much for having us. We really, I know, speak for others, just saying, having the opportunity to be a part of Bytes of Light and everything that's come with it has really been a big part of my healing journey on through today. So thank you for holding that container for us and allowing us to participate. So just kind of starting off with that. And heading into Bytes of Light, it is a beautiful experience being part of such a group and bringing in our stories in different ways. And for me personally, I just feel like everybody is on such a different journey, and that means to each their own in such that different way. But on that journey, we're all searching for pretty much the same thing ultimately, is freedom, I think. And whether that's freedom physically or freedom spiritually or mentally or whatever we're after that freedom to really be ourselves. And so, we're not all born into that right away, and we work really hard throughout our life to get to a point where we feel free. And so I've been called to maybe share some words and support through our business and through our lifestyle to be there for people along that journey.
Okay, I have to ask you, because I forgot to ask Dustin, how did you guys come up with the Buckaroo name?
Well, I was gonna, you're talking to two real cowboys. And so part of that healing journey I talk about is being vulnerable there and letting some of that come out, because once people get to know us, it's really the bridge for a lot of the community that we're working with. To be from that, to have that history and that character in our blood, really. It's something we have to work with in our career now, but it is where we come from. And we were really called to be that bridge for that community, meaning worldwide, really, ranchers, loggers, rural areas, but also that mindset. There's a mindset that comes with cowboys. And so by adding that into the name, we were, of course, Buckaroo, it goes with our territory. And by adding the Buddha, it built that bridge. Because, you know, ultimately, when you come in the clinic, you know, it's interesting to run into cowboys at a barbecue and they're like, what are you, a Buddha worshiper? You know, and it's like, I'll just kind of rub elbows with them. Be like, well, that's not exactly how it works. But there's the introduction, there's the bridge. And it's brought a little character and comedy and truthfulness to what we do also, because once they come in, once they get past the idea that that's the name, once they come into the clinic, they can feel the heartfelt healing that comes from within, and they realize that it really is just a name. And so that's how we come up with it. I know it might be a little deep, but it was important to us.
No, it's fabulous. And thank you for telling us that piece of your story. I love it. And thank you for being here today, April. One thing that you said resonated deeply, and it's just, you know, the freedom to be ourselves in the world. And I think what I want you to know about these books is that, especially this book, but a lot of our titles, our authors are stepping up and out loud in the world with their published words to be themselves fully, to let you get to know who they really are. And I love you all so much for grabbing my hand and doing that with me, right? It feels so good when we can do that in our community together and really support it. So Emoke, tell us about your amazing chapter.
Hi, Laura. Thank you for holding this conversation and interview. My chapter is 15th and called is Transformation Through Touch. So I choose it from my own opinion. And when you feel like you're ready for a change and you don't know what to do, but this time is here, so you just follow your intuition, your heart, and just show up. And everything happen without you being there. Just have to really show up for things what you willing to change in your life.
When you say or talk about following your heart, each of us, I believe, feels something different about how they're doing that. How do you do that? What do you feel when you follow your heart?
Like I feel is something going to change, is something not right, but I'm not hearing the voice truly, that when I calm down and I feel my heart, it's telling you right away, very loud, which direction you have to go. So I just decided to, okay, show up, whatever happen. I guess I'm ready, because my heart kept telling it to, this is not your way, what you're doing. You have to change something. And it's like coming up louder and louder in your life to do the decision and follow your intuition and your heart.
Well, intuition is a big deal too. Trusting, honing the skill of intuition, so where you can trust it. I know for most of us, it's been kind of a lifelong journey to get to a place where we're really trusting our intuition. Was this something that you came back to as an adult? You know, did you always have it?
I always had it, but what I'm saying, I shut down since I was 13 because I wasn't ready, or I hesitated. This is a voice. Really, this is my heart. What I'm doing here, but now, like 5 years later, come up, and it was like, yeah, this is my heart. I have to follow it. Like I can't push down anymore. I just had to show up for her.
Emoke, so let me just back up and tell all of our listeners, this is a book about entrepreneurship, and we wanted to combine the spiritual ideas with being a business owner and an entrepreneur. And that's a whole side conversation. Some people will say there are very big differences between a business owner and even an entrepreneur, right? But for you, Emoke, what does leadership in this entrepreneurship world look like to you? Evolving leadership, right? It's in our subtitle. What do you think of when you think of that?
It's a good question. Like, I think leadership. So show an example for the people what you went through and what is possible if you're following your heart and just show up in your life every day, no matter what, and no matter how deep place you are, your heart and your intuition always working for you, and you just show up and follow it. So my leadership is like, I did it and I showed up for myself, and I'm really, this is who I am. So, and I don't care anymore what people are thinking about it. This is who I am.
I like the way that you started the answer to that question quite a bit. Gosh, showing up in the world as yourself, as your authentic self, is maybe more than half the battle, right? April, what do you want to add to this? What does evolving leadership mean to you?
I was just, what does that mean to me? Kind of what we're doing, right? Would be what that meant to me, is what we're doing. But as you're during your conversation together, my mind is racing actually about my past and seeing that leadership. And I'm wondering the same thing. What the heck makes me in this position taking the lead? And I see that that was a big part of who I was. And from childhood, I think we can see that in ourselves. Someone else, society might see a child and call them bossy. Not, at this time, where now we can see that that's actually leadership. So for myself, when, I was working with horses, I was always in front. I was always leading, or I might be in back. I might be the last person on purpose because I was the leader again, and making sure we had everybody gathered up. Different careers I've had, I've always been in that leadership position, and moving into this one, working with Bytes of Light, and the leadership of helping people through such a serious ride, really such a big important part of their life. Again, I just kind of show up, and it's a part of what I go through daily. Because some of us just do that. We show up and we follow our heart, and it's taken us a while to learn how to get there and do that. But you move forward, and you kind of go through this stage where you're thinking, well, everybody just must think I'm crazy because we're the only ones doing this. But at the same time, we're showing up and we're doing that. We're just kind of evolving ourselves to be leaders. So, it's a beautiful process, and it's really important to have both. We try to talk about that masculine and feminine. So bringing that into this conversation as well is important.
Yes, definitely. I love listening to both of you about this. And it's part of the mission of the books, really, is we need all of your voices and ways to express the answers to these topics. It's going to matter for somebody who hears it in exactly the way only you can share it, right? It's going to resonate for people. So I thank both of you for not just for saying yes to this, but for taking on that challenge I gave you to write that down in a book and give people an experience with this. You did it so well, and I'm proud of the entire author cast for what they put into this book. April, I want to stick with you for a minute on this next one. And actually both of you have touched on this already. This is a big part of this for me, but spiritual entrepreneurship has been about honing my skill of listening to my heart and making decisions from that feeling place in my body, that grounded, centered feeling place, right? So, and I think you would both agree with me that that awareness is part of this spiritual entrepreneurship journey. What else has being a spiritual entrepreneur meant to you? It's interesting to put these together. I think my healers probably are just like, well, duh, it is that, right? But for people who aren't used to putting those two things together, I want to kind of explain how we go about thinking about this. What's your take on it?
I think it just really fills my cup. Boy, it just fills my cup like no other. And going back, I'll relate, my clients laugh because, I'm going to relate it to horses. And so when I had clients on horses and they're paying all this money and they're doing all of this hard work and shoveling all of this stuff, and a year later you finally get to see them gallop the horse and you're just like, yay, this is awesome, you made it. And now working with people in that breakthrough through their spiritual journey gives me that feeling times just a million, because we're all searching for our purpose on this earth, or however you want to phrase it, how to fulfill yourself. And so I'm just really grateful. I feel like I have found my purpose early on in life. I paid for it, but it's like ripping that Band-Aid off. Sometimes it comes off slower, and mine just came off real hard. So it's given me an opportunity for a second life, basically, on this earth. And I just want to give back as much as I could. And this is where it's led me. So
I like that you pulled purpose into that, because I believe part of the combo of spiritual and entrepreneur is that we are in our purpose and we know it, like we feel it. So that makes a lot of sense to me. I love that. Emoke, for you, when you think of being a spiritual entrepreneur, how does that look to you?
It's like you're putting a lot of good question on. I never thought about. Like showing your spirituality to the world and own it. Like for me is like, yeah, I'm owning it. Like even people think you are crazy, still this is who you are, and I own it. Yeah, I'm crazy and I love to lead this way. So giving some advice for people and encouraging people to open up, because it's beautiful things.
Okay, so thank you for that, because it's making me laugh a little bit. An example is yesterday I had so many instances of snake medicine, and the average business owner would listen to my snake medicine spiel and how I was looking up the snake in the animal spirit medicine book and what that message was for me, and all the different snakes that came into my world, including the one that rolled over my tennis shoe yesterday in the yard, and maybe they would look at me and go, oh my God, what is she talking about? She's crazy. What is that? That for me, that might be an example of a conversation I would have amongst my healers and maybe not with the outside world, but for you, Emoke, when you say that, give us an example. What would be the piece in your world, a part of how you practice?
Spirituality, you mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't exactly know how it show up in my life, but it's sometimes when I'm talking to people and it's just coming up very strongly. I have to say something, or I can connect with problems back in time, and I can ask them like, what happened in age 4, or like that, and people was just like, why are you asking that? And I can see different pictures and vision what actually happened with the person who I am or who I'm talking to, and I can see dresses or clothes what they're wearing and actually where they are, and we can go back and see it's what happened there, what is actually blocking they seeing their life how actually they are. And it's most of the time it's easier to undo it and have a better vision but why they're doing what they're doing and why they are in the path of the life in the same time.
Thank you for that example. And that's a powerful example of the skill and ability and connection this community has. And it's also a great example of the kinds of medicine you're going to find in this book. This book is beautiful, profound, real stories of our authors about who they are in on this spiritual entrepreneurship journey, right? But they're also offering practical experiences for you in the book so that you can dip your toe in and dabble a little bit with some of these things they're talking about. April, I'm going to give you a chance to answer that too. Like, if I was going to be a little fly on the wall in your spiritual world, what would be one of the practices that would be another example for you?
Well, I, have had a drive my entire life to just go hard. And that was directed in many ways by other people at first, and then by myself as basically self-sabotage through part of my story there. Instead of turning to, basically drugs and alcohol, I turned to hard work. And so in the end, when you're kind of wrung out from years of spinning a hamster wheel, not really sure why you're working so hard with no reward, now that you find out, once you find out why and you find your reward, then you get to spin, and you're not wondering why, and you're not exhausted as much, and it doesn't hurt so bad, and so you get to really go, and you get to really run. And I ultimately think that's what people might think I'm a little crazy about. They might see the outside and be like, holy cow, what drives this person to do these types of things, and at little cost, typically in our business, and with great sacrifice, so they kind of see these things on the outside and they're like, wow, what the heck what are you even doing? And so I think that part for me on a day-to-day basis, they might look at me a little off. But my teenage son, it was pretty funny. Just recently, he made a comment. He was playing video games, and the child on the other side says, I think it's a full moon tonight. For some reason, they needed to know about a full moon. And my child said, oh no, it's not a full moon. And the other child says, well, how do you know? And my child says, because my parents aren't doing nothing. They're usually got all kinds of stuff gathered up, and they got all kinds of stuff scheduled up, and they have all these things going on. And our house is dead. It's definitely not a full moon. And so I imagine that child might have thought we were a little crazy, So that word, whether it's taken out of context or not, but yes, that would be examples of how I might feel day to day that someone thinks that we're a little off for what we do.
That is a funny example. I think my kids would be very similar. They're used to a lot of language and ritual and different things that I do that maybe their friends are like, what, who is that mom of yours anyway? All right, I have another last really powerful question for both of you. Emoke, I'm going to come over to you first for this. I really believe that great leaders challenge others to step up and lead too. We empower people to do this by helping them connect to their worthiness and to their own inner wisdom. So I was wondering what's a message you have for our viewers today about helping them connect to their own power?
Hmm. Oh, it's interesting. I am encouraging everybody to breathe deep and just feel the pain first, and try to connect. Where is it? And try to accept it. Let the anger and the hate go behind the pain, because usually that's what is it. And just be okay with it. Like, sometimes we cannot change the past, but we always can change the moment or the tomorrow. So I encourage everybody to feel the pain, sit with it, and let it be, and let it go. And as soon as happened, your life is changed for much better. It's just the time what's coming, you will be appreciated, and you will really regret why you didn't do these things before. And show the world it's possible. Like, everything is possible what you put in your mind. Our mind is very powerful, and as soon as you let it be, you don't push the gas and the brake in the same time, is everything happen for very good reason for your life.
I like that. Um, I've heard that before. You can't push the gas and the brake. I mean, you would ruin your car. So I like that. I like that visual. Thank you. April, how about you for this one? What do you think is important for people to know? What's your message about helping them connect to their inner wisdom and power?
Yeah, being able to, relating with what Emoke, just being able to sit with and be able to sift basically kind of what is happening in your life that you're uncomfortable with and that is holding you back from moving forward. And usually most of this is almost 100% of it is ego based. And so, it's that Band-Aid. It's kind of how fast you want to put the ego in the corner or how long it's going to kind of hover over you. But like, whatever that path is, to each his own, it's that sifting through, continuously working and sifting through all of it to get that clear and putting out baggage or whatever shadow work or other people that put baggage on you. By kind of sifting through all of this, you'll find yourself in a space where it's so much more open. And we hear that quite a bit. You can't have new stuff if there's no room, because the old stuff is taking up too much of that space. And it's the same exact, it's that exact for that path. Is if it's overwhelmed with people and baggage that you're unhappy with, or that's hindering you, then your life is going to be so much harder. So just kind of sifting through that and sitting with it and doing your research and finding all the tools that help you from the ground up to be able to get to that point. And as brought up, once it happens, the scale really tips. And it's like you just kind of go down a water slide and there's this huge shift. And then that also depends on how fast you want to rip some of those band-aids off, how fast you get to go down, how big your water slide is. And so it's all coming though from your heart and your intuition. And that's the core of what should be driving your I want to say horse, but I was boat, we'll go boat. But yeah, whatever's driving, should be what drives you every day. So
horse, boat, Ferrari, whatever you guys want to drive.
That's right.
Whatever you want to drive. Thank you.
We'll get there in a wagon if we have to. Yes.
There we go. It's the awareness. I would like to add something here, you know, connecting to your power. First, you have to be aware of the messages that are negative inside. You have to be aware of the way you feel in your body. What Emoke said about first just sit with the pain, accept and let go is so important. And then from that place, quieting the mind, quieting what you're making everything mean, and coming to a neutral space with the breath, right? And then if you're talking to me, I'm going to say, grab a pen and a notebook and start to journal some of that, move some of that out. And you might be curious what moves out. Emoke Molnar and April Kaiser, thank you both so much for being here today. Thank you so much for what you do in the world. And you guys will have Suzanne Rowland back with us, okay? We had the technology issues today, so you'll get to meet her on one of our other interviews and we'll bring her back. So you're, of course, invited to drop down into our show notes and learn more about these authors. Maybe something they said today made you curious, or you have a question, or you need a little bit of support. These books, this whole book author cast is very generously there for you guys. It's so much more than a book. It's a community of people who are expert teachers and master healers who are there for you to answer those questions. So for April and Emoke today, please go check out their websites, explore, look at their links and see what they're up to, because it's amazing. And you can all join us for our book launch party. We're going to have all of the authors of Bytes of Light together on June 24th. That's noon Eastern. And I have some information down below about how you can join us on Zoom to celebrate this beautiful book. And if you're listening to the interview past that date, then that just means you can get over to Amazon and buy your copy. We'll be happy to hear what you thought about our Bytes of Light book. And lastly today, everyone, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.